So there's the one movement that gives itself a Christian name. Here's another movement that gives itself a Christian name, the Mormon movement. The Mormons call themselves the Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ. So this is Jesus Christ's name being used again. And the information comes from this angel over there, who is the angel Moroni. Here he stands on top of the globe, blowing his trumpet. Here is a typical Mormon church. It has no windows, just like Masonic lodges don't have any windows. And the founder of the Mormon movement is none other than Joseph Smith. And Joseph Smith was a 33-degree Freemason. What does that tell you? Who was his God? If he was a 33-degree Freemason, then his God was Lucifer. Now, this is his follower. He's the next prophet, if you like, the Mormon leader, Brigham Young, who followed up Joseph Smith. And he happened to be a 33-degree Freemason. Well, let's check this out. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormonism, its founder, Joseph Smith, was a high-level Freemason. His successor, Brigham Young, was also another high Freemason. According to the book Black Robe, Brigham Young was an intimate friend of Peter de Smet, one of the most powerful American Jesuits of the 19th century. Oh, we find them everywhere. But they're never in the front row, they're always in the back row, so that they never get bonks, the others get bonks. Well, here Joseph receives from the angel Moroni the gold tablets with this new doctrine on it. Now let's ask him himself whether what I'm saying is correct. So it's always good to go to his own writings, his history of the church. In the evening, I received the first degree in Freemasonry in the Nauvoo Lodge, assembled in my general business office. I was with the Masonic Lodge and rose to the sublime degree. There you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. It cannot be denied. Mormonism was started by Freemasonry under the control of who? The Jesuits, yes. Now, what would be their principal move to start an organization that controls one whole state, at least in the United States, and together with Freemasonry controls the entire space program? Because anybody who's ever been in space is either a Freemason or he is a Mormon, one of the two. Very interesting. Not only that, they are the organization which have the greatest database on anyone ever living. They will find out everything from who you are, who your parents are, where you lived, what you did, every single thing about you, they have the database. This is a database that will be important one day when it comes to buying and selling and who's going to get what in the new dispensation. So they perform a very important work for the Jesuit order. If you look at Mormonism, they have the same sort of ritual as Freemasonry. They have their aprons. The handshakes are a little bit different, as you see. They have their secret handshakes and all the paraphernalia that goes along with it. And this is their main temple at Salt Lake City. Again, you can see it's a pretty shut-up place. And when you go and look there, you'll see the all-seeing eye with the Masonic handshake in it. You'll see the moon and the Baal Hadad symbol and the sun and the upside-down pentagrams, former witch, Mason, Mormon, and Satanist Bill Schnoebelen emphasized that to the magician the inverted pentagram has one use only, and that is to call up the power of Satan and bring the kingdom of the devil into manifestation on earth. So here is the symbol right on the Masonic temple. I took these pictures myself, so I know they're there. Another quote, "You will find the satanic pentagram invaluable and indispensable if you attempt to draw from the infernal power of our Lord Satan. This extremely powerful amulet is the sign of the microcosm and is the summation of all occult forces. In other words, there is no amulet or talisman more powerful or even close to as powerful as the satanic pentagram." It's interesting that it's on virtually every flag in the world, which is just another story. So if we look at the Mormon temple, we will find them in their upside down form relatively frequently. All these symbols are all over the Mormon temple. The all-seeing eye over there, down there, symbols of the sun. They have circles. Originally, they even had the dot in the middle, but they've become a little bit more clandestine and have removed those. On their other churches at the same site, you will find the Star of David. All of these features are in Mormonism. Here, the restoration of the Aaronic priesthood. They claim that they have the priesthood of Aaron. Now, by the way, that is a blasphemy, because who has become the high priest forever? Jesus. This means they are taking upon themselves something that belongs to someone else. They are robbing Jesus Christ of his role and his authority. Kathy Burns, Masonic and Occult Symbols Illustrated, says both Masonry and Mormonism refer to the Melchizedek priesthood. In Scottish Rite Masonry, the 19th degree is called the Grand Pontiff. It is during this ceremony that the candidate is anointed with oil, made and proclaimed a priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek. I thought there was only one who was of that order today. Isn't that so? So both of them, Mormonism and Freemasonry, do this. Hebrews 5:9 tells us, however, that Christ glorified not himself to be made a high priest, but was called of God a high priest after the order of Melchizedek. But occultists, Mormons, Masons glorify themselves and take on themselves the honor of priesthood that was given to Christ alone. So when we titled this series Total Onslaught, you can see that every aspect of the world out there is designed to rob Jesus of his power and his priesthood. So many of these poor Mormons, of course, have no idea, because again, in Mormonism there are degrees and you get initiated into higher and higher levels. So the lower levels know absolutely nothing. These poor little nun girls that walk around there showing the people around, saying these wonderful things that they have read and not realizing what they're even saying. If you look here at the Mormon structures there, I mean, wow, it is impressive. Money was obviously not an object. What about Mormon doctrine? Let's have a look at that quickly. Section 27, Doctrine of Covenants, verse 11. Mormons teach that Adam was God. Journal of Discourses, volume 4, this is their official writing, that some sins are atoned for by own blood only. What does that tell you? Well, that's not biblical. The Book of Mormon, Alma 7 verse 10 says Jesus was born in Jerusalem. That's not biblical. It's minor, but it's just irritating. Journal of Discourses, volume 2, page 81 says Christ was married to Mary, Martha, and others. Well, that'll give you a good reason to have a little bit of, more than one wife. Why not? They deny the atonement. We're going through the same ritual again. One of the most pernicious doctrines ever advocated by man is the doctrine of justification by faith alone, which has entered into the hearts of millions since the days of the so-called Reformation. Joseph Fielding Smith, this is Joseph Smith himself writing, The Restoration of All Things, page 192. Well, doesn't that sound similar to what Westcott and Hort had to say, yes or no? Well, this is Masonic teaching, and Mormonism is nothing other than a front for Freemasonry, masquerading as a religion of Jesus Christ. The Mormon book in 2 Nephi 2:22-25 says, Adam fell that men might be, and men are that they might have joy. So Adam fell so that men may have joy? Sterling W. Sill, member of the First Quorum of 70, stated in the church section of Desert News, July 31, 65, under Christ, Adam yet stands as head. Adam fell, but he fell in the right direction. He fell towards the goal. Adam fell, but he fell upward. Jesus says to us, come up higher. Brigham Young says, The devil told the truth about Godhead. I do not blame Mother Eve. I would not have her miss eating the forbidden fruit for anything. Through the gift of sin, humanity can achieve godhood. Well, who's this speaking? Is this the devil speaking, or is this Jesus Christ speaking? This is in their doctrine of covenants. Ye were also in the beginning with the Father. Man was also in the beginning with God. Intelligence or light or truth was not created or made, neither indeed can be. Again, you have it there. Mormonism is nothing other than Freemasonry, masquerading as a religion of Jesus Christ, deceiving millions in the process, and just being a tool for the Jesuit order. The Catholic Mass basically says the same. O blessed fault which does procure such a Redeemer. This is the figure of Christ that they have at the Mormon temple. And whether Jesus looked like that or not, who knows? The devil says he wants to impersonate Jesus, so maybe Jesus looked like that. I don't know. I'll find out one day when he comes with the clouds of heaven. I wonder whether he did have a split beard, which is a symbol of a goat, but nevertheless. Here we have the leader, Joseph Smith. And if you look at the figures over here, you'll see a beehive. And if you go and look in the book Two Babylons, you'll see that the beehive is a symbol of paganism. This is pagan deities. Now, this is a rather fascinating story. You see, the world is being controlled by occultists. And occultists often run in families. So you have occult families which control the world. Now, some people go too far and they say, you know, there's a reptilian connection and there are reptile families. And ooh, have you heard of those stories before? Now, let's not go there. Let's just say, is it possible that there are families that control the world? And they come from royal families. Now, some royal lines have been eradicated, eliminated, destroyed, wiped off the face of the earth through Jesuit intrigue, and others have been placed in power, like the House of Stuart, for example, in England. Every one of them high masons, those are all occultists. I mean, the Queen is the Queen of the Bilderbergers. How much more occult can you become than that? So here you have these royal families. Is it possible that these royal families are controlling much of the world and that the kings of the world will one day rule? Well, let's just have a look at something interesting. Here is the Howland family chart, which is published at the Mormon temple and tells us who's who in the zoo and who's related to this family. One family, so we're looking at great-great-grandpa. Let's have a look who his descendants are. One family. You can check this out for yourself. Joseph Ira Earl, very prominent man in his old days. Joseph Smith, there's the founder of the Mormon movement. He is part of that family. He comes from the same great-great-grandfather. Emma Hale comes from that family. Winston Churchill, he has the same great-great-great-grandfather. Franklin D. Roosevelt has the same great-great-great-grandfather. Richard Nixon has the same great-great-great-grandfather. Do you mean to tell me that President Ford had the same great-great-great-grandfather? Do you mean to tell me that George W. Bush Sr. had the same great-great-great-grandfather? George W. Bush Jr. had the same great-great-great-grandfather? Now, this is kind of strange. Do you really believe that though they come from different sides of the earth's divide, that they all come from the same family? Do you think this is pure chance? I leave it to your speculation. I don't want to go further into this. I just find it fascinating that they all come from the same family. From Churchill to how many presidents in the United States? 1, 2, 3, the one in between, 4, 5 presidents in the United States, plus those from the other side, plus the founder of the Mormon movement, all from the same family. It's very weird, very weird. And then if you go into Mormons and NASA, you will find that all the top men, they were all Mormons or they were Masons.